the formation of a sedimentary rocks, which is having how these sedimentary rocks are going to be formed, and the terminology of sedimentary rocks, how the rocks were formed, and due to the weathering and erosion process. Again, it is involving the transportation. Later, those sediments which are disintegrated from the pre-existent rocks, and these are all will be participated in weathering and erosion and transportation process, and later these are going to be a deposition. Here, there are the main result of the surface process. It is to produce the material. Maybe it is a raw material, and it's a composition of mm, different fragments, and which are undergone through different processes. That's maybe accumulation, compaction, and consolidation. These will be taken a place in the presence of a water. At least, minimum the water content should be there. In the presence of a water, the material which are transported to the one place to the another, and they will be deposited in a low lying area or in a low depression area that is known as a basin. These sediments will be formed layer by layer, layer by layer, layer by layer. The majority of the rocks which contains and which are formed from the pre-existing rock, which are cut down into the small pieces, and the action will be started in the process of weathering. The weathering agents, and after that, in the presence of a high wind, the metals which are transported to the one place to the other by the glacial products or maybe water, whatever it is that. So these small parts of the pieces or diagonal process of the pieces means will form, and those will be transferred to one place to the another. The media, it is the water, it is working as a media, and wind also for some time, and glacial materials also for some time, depend on that area. The sediments which are moved to one place to the another, and they will be settled down in a low lying area or a low depression area. The low depression area, it is known as a basin. In a basin, the material, it is settled down layer by layer. So here, uh, while it is a transporting from one place to the another, or nearer to the deposition place, nearer to the deposition place. Maybe it is sometimes it is association of a bank of a reverse land surface, or whatever maybe it is that the sediments which are carried from one place to the another place by the velocity of fragments which are moving to one place to the another. In the process of the transporting this transport, it is utilizing as the agent, it is utilizing the water, or maybe it is wind, or whatever it is that depend on the physical conditions, the material which is transporting to the one place to the another, and they will be deposited. They will be deposited. Suppose if it is a solution, the material, if it is in a solution, and later slowly, which are getting the precipitating the solution or water molecules, whatever which are having in the particle. particles, and those will be getting evaporated, and the remain part, whatever it is, it will be becoming solid part. Solid part. So these solid particles will be formed layer by layer, layer by layer. So here the formation of sedimentary rocks, which are involves in the three involving a three types. Okay, that's one thing. Uh, we see the detailed processes here. Either maybe it's a weathering or a transportation or deposition. These will be there, and under these three processes, the sedimentary rocks which are going to form, and later we'll discuss one by one in detail. The second unit. The second unit, it is speaking about the sedimentary rocks and their properties. Here we can see the terms of texture, the terms of texture, and we see the different types of textures which are having like clastic texture and non-clastic textures. And also we will study there the sedimentary structures also here. The sedimentary structures. Either maybe it is a physical structures or a chemically they will form, and the chemical structures, and a few organic compositions of structures also we will study here. Maximum the deposition almost after precipitation of a solution material, it will be come as a solid material, and the solid material, it is having different types of compositions, and while it is transporting from one place to the another from the pre-existing rock, it is carrying the various types of material. So the various types of material mainly which are having the mineralogical compositions we can see, and textural features we will see, and structural characteristics also we will study here. Those we will see in this unit, and the condition of deposition. While it is depositing at the time, what it is the condition of that material, it's mineralogically, texturally, whether the formation we see it is in a solid state or semi-solid state, or maybe like a mud material. These type of formations, conditions we can see at the time of deposition. And again, it is involving the extent of denudation and the mode of transportation here. The mode of transportation, maybe it is a wind, it is a moving to the one place to the another by the force of wind, or by the carrying of a water material, or maybe it is a glacial product based on the glacial product. So based on that, the materials or these are the medium or agents. They will work as a medium agents, and they will move to the one place to the another place. The material it is bringing from the pre-existing rock, and it's having the different chemical composition, and depend on that those will be settled down, or those will be found on a surface. That's one thing. And at the same time, here we can see the climatological conditions also. The climatological conditions also playing very important role here. These climatological conditions we see that maybe depend on that depend on that. Sorry. Sorry for it. So here, these climatological conditions are also playing very important role. Uh, why? What it is a need of a climatological conditions? Why we will study the climatological conditions? Maybe the climatological conditions which are useful for the paleontological studies. It is useful for paleontological studies. While it is forming the sedimentary formations or sedimentary rocks, there the material it is a bringing. Maybe if it is any buried material or any plant material, if it is getting the diet or animal lives if they lost, and those will be covered. The sedimentary material which is covered, those whatever lives which are having the plants or maybe it's a animal lives, so they will lost, and at the time the material, the sediments which are covered depend on their low temperature conditions or a low pressure. If it is available, and slowly those will be covered, very covered very slowly. And suppose if it is a glacial area, example, in a glacial area, it maximum which is having snow and whatever it is, that ice particles will be there. So that these particles, whatever particles are there, which are covered or buried by this material, so automatically what is happening? There is no impact. It is showing that. So that's one thing. Whatever. So these climatological conditions also playing very important role while it is a formation of like fossils. Those we can see here. And third one, it is classification of sedimentary rocks. The third unit is speaking about the classification of sedimentary rocks, whether these rocks are formed in a different conditions, so that various types of there may be a chance to formation of a different types of sedimentary rock. So we can see these sedimentary rocks we can see maybe like rudiaceous rocks or arenaceous rocks or maybe it's silt rocks or argillaceous rocks. These we can see. These we can see. That's one thing. Based on that, we will classify the plastic rocks. Sometimes we see the non-plastic rocks also. Non-plastic rocks. These non-plastic rocks which are formed by the chemical compositions, in the presence of chemical compositions or chemical deposits also we will call. And second one, it is organic deposits. The second one, it is that organic compositions. These organic compositions, how they were formed, those we will see. Next unit, metamorphic spectrology. Here, till the first three units, the first three units explanation particularly about only formation of sedimentary rock, about sedimentary rocks. So, yeah, right. Sedimentary rocks. And second block, it's discussing about, or the second explaining about the formation of a metamorphic rock. We will study about the metamorphic petrology, metamorphic rocks. The metamorphism, the fourth unit, it's discussing about the metamorphism, and in that process, the agents and the kinds of metamorphic rocks and kinds of metamorphism we see. Yeah, and presence of in the presence of a high temperature and pressure. But whereas it can be what we have seen in sedimentary rock, the formation of a sedimentary rock which are using the very low temperature and low pressure. But here it is not like it's a completely opposite previous rocks were formed. Here the uh, metamorphic rocks were formed in the presence of a high temperature and a pressure. And there, depend on that availability of a temperature and a pressure, depend on the temperature and a we see that one it is the heat predominant. Second one, it is a directed pressure and the predominant. Third one, it is known as a directed pressure and heat predominant. Fourth one, it is uniformly the pressure will be supplied at the same time the heat it is a predominant character. Heat it is a playing very important role. And fifth one, the role of chemical active fluids. Here, different types of formations are there, chemical compositions are there, and in the presence of a high temperature and the pressure, the fluids how they are going to be active and how they are going to melt different chemical compositions in the uh, formation of a metamorphic rocks. Yeah, that is about um, fourth unit. And now here we'll discuss about the describe and the different types of a metamorphism, and where we can see the zones of a metamorphism, states and phases of a metamorphism. These we can see. Almost it is the metamorphic rocks are found in the presence of a temperature and pressure only. In the presence of a high temperature and the pressure, the original rock it is changes the original formation. Chemically, it is going to be changed, and structurally, it is going to be changed, and morphologically, it is going to be changed. So, uh, so here we can study. They depend on the temperature and the pressure, the pre-existed rock, whatever it is that changes the original formation. It is going to be changes the original formation chemically and structurally and texturally. So this type of rocks are known as metamorphic rocks. The process it is known as metamorphism. It is known as metamorphism. Yeah, that's what we will see in the fourth unit. And next, what have this? What have it? It is not coming. Is it working? In fifth unit, it is discussing about the mineralogical characters and uh, metamorphism of a metamorphic rocks. So, what are the mineralogical characteristics or the characters we see here? Here we see the impact of a metamorphism on original rock formations. What it is that impacts and how it is showing the in impacting, how it's showing the impacting on different uh, minerals and the chemical compositions, how they are going to be changes those chemical compositions, those we can see. Yeah, the original compositions of rocks, whereas if you see the argillaceous rock formations, or maybe it is arenaceous rock formations, or it is associating with acid igneous rocks, and later limestones and the carbonate formation of rocks, those we see. Few intermediate and basic igneous rock study also we will discuss here. Okay, these are all will be happen based on the influence of heat and the pressure also. These two are playing very important role in the formation of a metamorphic rocks. And then we see here the effects of a metamorphism on original rock formations, as well as how um, heat is it is showing the influence on your rocks, and as well as uniformity of a pressure. Those along with these, we can study the minerals of metamorphic rocks. Various types of minerals we have in a metamorphism in a metamorphic rocks. The changes from sedimentary formations to the metamorphic formations in the presence of a high temperature and pressure. Example for if you can see the limestone. Limestone, it is belongs to the sedimentary formation or a sedimentary rocks. In the presence of a high temperature and a pressure, the presence of a high temperature and a pressure, it is going to be changed as a marble here. But the chemical composition is it changed? Just we can see. And as well as the structure is it changed? That's also we will see here. This is only example I'm telling you. There are various types of minerals are there and metamorphic rocks, and these all will be uh, coming from the either maybe it is a igneous directly or from sedimentary rocks. So these are characteristics, I mean, mineral characters which we are going to be studied here. In sixth unit, it's a discussing about here are the textures, structures, and classification of a metamorphic rocks. We'll explain and we'll discuss here the textural features of a metamorphic rocks and the differentiation or a distinction between the textures and structures. The same also what we have seen in igneous rocks also. In igneous also what we have seen the textures and the arrangement of the grains in a particular uh, rock, and structural features also what we have seen there. And same here also similarly we will study these textural features and as well as structural features we can see here. Your next one, it is a describing, we have a chance to describe the crystal shape and crystal growth, internal crystal growth, and which are having the mutual relation. Coming to the structures, if we can see the structures, cataclastic structure, confluencic structure, granulose structure, and fourth one it is a foliated structure. These are the structural features or structures we will study in metamorphic rocks. And one more thing, it is the classification of rocks also we see here. The classification of metamorphic uh, rocks, yeah, it's a depend on their mineralogical compositions and whether which are belongs to the foliated rocks or non-foliated rocks, and those we can see. And again, uh, the familiar scientist were there. Example, Turner. He suggested that the classification maybe it is a depend on the four types of a metamorphic rock. One maybe it is related to the field association, and second one it is a mineral composition. Third one we say the structure, and fourth one it is a chemical composition. These are the main factors while we are going to the classifying the rocks. So those studies we will study we will carry out in a 6 to 8 structures and the classification of a metamorphic rock. Yeah, this is about block second. The block second maximum not complete. It is associating with. We'll discuss only about metamorphic rocks. So the study of a metamorphic rocks, it is known as the metamorphic petrology. As earlier, what we see that sedimentary petrology, the sedimentary petrology, which is deals only the formation and classification, textures, and structures of sedimentary rocks. So the study of a sedimentary rocks, it is known as a sedimentary petrology. Come into the block uh, third, metamorphic petrology. In a metamorphic petrology, in second block, second part, here the will explain about the magma and metamorphism. These two. Without magma, we know that without magma, there is no formation of rocks. The magma what is that it will go towards the surface and it will be dispersed. They'll dispersed on surface and later in the process of solidification and later crystallization process will be happen. Then the rocks were formed. So the source it is for all the rocks. For all the rocks, it is a source for only magma. Either maybe it is or igneous, or maybe it is a metamorphic, and later uh, a sediment. The sedimentary also. Because of the main source, it is here the magma only. So here what we will see. Here it is explained that a definition of magmas. In that what it is the impact of a heat, whether it is presented as a direct pressure or a uniform pressure on the pre-existing rocks. So that's we'll discuss again. But here we will discuss the formation and what it is a magma we see. And second one, it is the process of a metasomatism here. The metasomatism here, the meanings the alteration of chemical compositions here or mineralogical compositions. Simply, if you want to say simply that we will call the change of chemical composition. The original chemical composition will be changed in a rock by medium of a solution or agency of a solution. It is known as metasomorphism. So here it is what it is that process of metasomorphism. And one more, it is pneumatolysis, the word. The pneumatolysis or pneumatolytic metamorphism. So here in the process of a pneumatolysis, the rocks which are affecting by the high temperature and a pressure and a pressure and the magmatic material which consisting of the halogenic elements only. The halogenic elements like water or compounds of association and compounds of boron, phosphorus, and alkali metals. These. So here in this process or pneumatic metamorphism, if you can define that, the presence of a heat, high heat, the magma uh, which will be emanations of or existing elements. That's we will discuss here. And eighth unit it is a cataclastic metamorphism here. In a cataclastic metamorphism, the breakers cataclastic formation. And these we can see. The crust breccias we will call microbrachias also here. The micro brachias. Yeah, later we'll discuss very detailedly. And again, the formation of cataclastic metamorphism. And again, it will be describing the products of cataclastic metamorphism. This. The the cataclastic metamorphism, which is utilizing the high pressure and temperature. Direct pressure will be working on whatever rock formations are there. Uh, Due to the high temperature or high pressure or stress will be working on a orogenic material which are passing to the or which are leads to formation of structures like folding, foliage, and little of a granulation. These we can see here. Almost the fine-grained rocks as a whole, it is subjected to the cataclasis. We will call that is cata uh, cataclasis, and these will be discussed in this one. In ninth unit here, we'll study particularly the importance of thermal metamorphism. The importance of thermal metamorphism here, various types of minerals will be forming, metamorphic minerals will be forming, um, or metamorphic rocks will be forming, like hornblends, quartzitic formation, and marbles, scans, scans, and tactites. These will be formed here. Here we will explain the origin of hornblends as well as we'll discuss about the formation of a quartzite, how they were formed, the quartzite. And again, we will discuss about marbles, scones, and tactiles. These will be discussed. Last block, it is fourth one. Again, it is also related with the metamorphic petrology. The metamorphic petrology. Here in the ninth unit, what we have uh, going to discussing about a thermal metamorphism. Here you see the metamorphism. Uh, Types of a metamorphism or kinds of a metamorphism we can see here. So the unit 10, the unit 10th, it is discussing about dynamo-thermal metamorphism. In the presence of a dynamo-thermal metamorphism, the type of a rocks, what they are going to be formed, those we will see. Like slates, phyllites, schist, gneisses, and amphibolites. These rocks, these are all formed under the dynamo-thermal metamorphism. Here it is the temperature and the pressure. I mean the heat and the pressure. Director pressure. The director pressure will be influencing, and as well as heat also. Heat also. So in the presence of a high temperature, director pressure, and a heat, the process again, the crystallization process again, it will be started. That is known as a recrystallization. Recrystallization. So the director pressure, it will be showing the results, the deformation of a rock, and again the production of new structures. The production of new structures. So here the deformation, if it is involved, the interaction process will be also there. There are three types of a process are there. Those are known as a one. It is a clastic. Second one it is blastic, and third one it is uh, plastic. These three, these three processes were involved in that one. So that's one thing. Yeah. Um, you what are the products? The products of dynamo thermal metamorphism. It is also here. We'll discuss in this chapter, along with that plastic deformation, and blastic deformation. These also we will discuss. And unit 11, it is discussing about plutonic metamorphism. The plutonic metamorphism, here the process of a plutonic metamorphism, which are formed in these rocks, which are formed in a great depth, in a great depth, and it is having the very high and direct pressure, direct pressure. So in the presence of a direct or a high pressure, what type of minerals are going to be formed? Whether products, maybe it is granulates or charnokites or eclogates. These these are the products which are formed in the presence of a plutonic metamorphism. In the presence of a plutonic metamorphism. That's one thing. And the final unit is 12. It is describing about typical Indian rocks. The typical Indian rocks are almost what we have seen. I mean, we know that igneous rocks, sedimentary metamorphic rocks, which are found in our Indian country, our Indian subcontinent. And there are again one more category. It is there in that category. We will study about charnokites, wandalites, corderites, and Deccan traps of rocks also. These are the specialized rocks of our Indian subcontinent. These rocks will be studied in Unit 12. So this is a overall view of overall view of all these topics. Now we are going to discussing about the sedimentary petrology, block one, the formation of a sediment rock. Now we can see. Yeah, wait. Yes. Yeah. Now we see here the formation of a sedimentary rocks. First, how you can define the sedimentary rock? That way. First of all, what it is the sedimentary formation or what it is the sedimentary rock? That's we have to know. The sedimentary rocks which are derived from the uh, three groups of rocks, how they are going to be formed. These rocks are going to be formed by the weathering, erosion, transportation, and the deposition of pre-existing rock. That means whatever pre-existing rocks were formed on a surface, which are going to cut down into the small pieces in the presence of a water, or maybe it is the presence of a wind or a glacial action, whatever it is. In the presence of these conditions, the pre-existed rocks are cut down into the small pieces, disintegrated, and divided into the small sediments. And these sediments will be transported to one place to the another, and they will be settled down in a low depression area or low line area. So these sediments were formed layer by layer here. These sediments were formed layer by layer, and here in this process, the accumulation, compaction, and consolidation in the presence of a water, these three types of a process will be done. Maximum, the majority of a sedimentary rocks which are composition or a composition of sedimentary rocks, those sediments are broken from a pre-existing rock and they will be transported to one place to the another and they will be settled down in a low-lying areas layer by layer. So here the weathering agents. What are the weathering agents here? The weathering agents we should call one, it is a wind maybe, and second one it is water, and third one it is a glacier or a ice, whatever it is. In the presence of these medium or in the presence of these agents. The pre-existing rocks were getting into the small pieces and they will be transporting and moving from one place to the another, and they will be settled down on land surface or shallow of land surface or nearby the sea floor or nearby the river bank or lake floor, whatever it is. That. So here we can see that the condition also, the physical conditions while they are transporting to the one place to the another. The physical conditions also we can see here. Maybe we will call in that physical weathering, and as well as the chemical composition of the same fragments while transporting to the one place to the another, which is bringing the huge amount of additional material while it is moving or transporting to the one place to the another, and they will be settled down. So here the formation of a rocks which is involved actually into the three processes. One, it is a weathering, and second one, it is a transportation. Third one, it is a deposition. Third one, it is a deposition. So the transport material, this transportation of a sediment material, which are leads to formation of a sedimentary rocks. I told you just now that maybe it's a medium uh, working as a the water, or maybe it is a wind, or maybe it is a glacial formation, or whatever it is that you see here. Here, it's showing that the sedimentary rock, yeah, the sedimentary rock you see here, this is a blue color indication, and under this one, the blue color indication, this layer, and under this, the marine deposits also we can see here. This the small, this one you can see here. This is the sedimentary rock. Based on these fluvial deposits, based on this fluvial deposits, it is coming. You see here again the movement of the you see here the movement of the cloudies, and it's precipitating on this rock composition, and it is getting the disintegration, and through this is one the material it is transporting through this canal or whatever it is proposed, and transporting through this one, and they will be settled down here. This is sedimentary formations. This is a first, and later it is getting precipitated, and the consolidation rock it is found here. See, and it is expanding to here. This is expanding to here. So this one. These are the sedimentary rocks. So it's a process. This is only just a process in the presence of a fluvial uh, formation or fluvial deposits. So you can see the cycle, the formation of a rock cycle we see here. The first we will come from this magma. Will come from this magma. The magma it's explodes to outside, or it's a in process of eruption. The magma it will become towards the surface, and it is a forming in the form of a igneous rocks. Maybe it is intrusive to outside, and which is spread throughout this area, and slowly it is getting the consolidation. So here the igneous rocks were formed like this, and in how the presence of a in the process and the presence of a crystallization, in the crystallization, the rocks which are forming within the surface. So these rocks are intrusive rocks, and later again the material it is coming towards the surface or above the surface, and those are getting the consolidation and the process of a crystallization only, and these rocks will be forming in hill areas, hillocks. We can see whatever we can see at outside. Those rocks are known as a extrusive igneous rocks. Extrusive igneous rocks. And here you see here in the this is a medium. This is a medium. The rain, if it is fall on these hills, or the precipitation, while it is a precipitation, the raindrops, if it is fall on these hills, which are getting into the weathered, it will become under the physical weathering process. It will be getting the weather. This is the process. The pre-existing rocks or original rocks, whatever formed on the surface, and those are getting the cut down into the small pieces, and they will uh, move from the original place to the site. So how in the process of weathering here, the why it is, maybe it is a physical weathering or chemical weathering, or we will call the physical weathering means here we sometimes we may call that is known as a mechanical weathering also. Mechanical weathering also. So here the mechanical weathering which is involves depend on their conditions at the time of weathering. That's playing very important role. And there at the same time in the weathering process, it is chemically it is involving, and as well as biologically also, which is involving, biological also involving in the same weathering conditions. So the top layer which is formed as a paste by this weathering material, by this weathering, the top layer it is removed, and it will be settled down or transported from the hills, and they will be settled down and dispersed throughout that area, or throughout that area. So that what is happening?